Victoria Day long weekend. For many Canadians, this date on the calendar officially kicks off the beginning of the summer holiday season. The weekend to open up the cottage, for others to pack up and head out to our favorite provincial park. Starting last year, my new holiday ritual has been hunting down and finding peaceful and beautiful Crownland camping spots. This spring, I wanted to reserve a site as a sort of shakedown run, a preliminary journey to ensure I haven't forgotten anything and to make sure everything is in working order. But mostly, see how my new travel partner would fare. One thing is for certain, there's nothing worse than having unexpected surprises once you're at your destination, hours and hours from home. But a lot of times, it's inevitable something gets missed. For this year, I've added some extra super useful Milwaukee pack-out boxes and of course the new 12-volt refrigerator, which should make getaways that much more worry-free. And of course, as I mentioned, I also have a new travel companion who needs broken in. Obviously, super excited to hit the road. And for our destination, none other than the beautiful, majestic Algonquin Provincial Park. From our home in Kitchener, Ontario, Algonquin is approximately 4 hours away, traffic and roadworks notwithstanding. First order of business for us is a stop off in Guelph to pick up a warranty replacement roto packs. Lexi, of course, doing her best to behave and be patient while I step away. Well, maybe not her very best. A quick pee break for her, and then back on the road. Victoria Day marks the beginning of the holiday season, but it's also renowned for something else, the beginning of road construction season. And for us and others, there's seemingly no escape. Many of us get this long weekend off work, but for the good people who are stuck hard at it, well, you just gotta do like this fellow and make the best of it. It's not long before we're back underway and Lexi finally resigning herself to the long drive. The first fair weather long weekend of the year, and of course, the other travel factor that you can always count on, road traffic. I jumped on the all too familiar Highway 400 on the south end of Barrie, Ontario, and it wasn't long before I realized my annoying mistake. Yet again, down to a crawl on a 6-lane freeway. On my previous journeys north, I rode the 400 all the way north up to Sudbury, but today our trip takes us up the other major northern route, Highway 11, and this section of road forks off just north of Barrie. It isn't too long before the familiar northern geology makes itself known, with wonderful rock outcroppings that can only be the Canadian Shield. And of course the sparkling clear blue lakes dotting the landscape. Highway 11, while similar to all 400 series freeways in Ontario in that they have divided multi-high-speed lanes, this stretch of pavement isn't considered as such for the simple fact that it has high-grade crossings and intersections, whereas 400 series do not. So beware of motorists merging or crossing from either side of the roads. Before too long, however, we happen across the off-ramp to the iconic Highway 60 and jump off there. For me, and I'm sure many others, heading into the massive expanse of Algonquin on this road just feels somehow special, somewhat different, knowing that you'll soon be in the middle of such a beautiful and wild nature preserve. And when I say massive, I mean massive. The park boundary encompasses over 7,600 square kilometers. It's larger than the entire province of Prince Edward Island, or Delaware and Rhode Island put together. Looking at the park on the GPS map, and it's impossible to miss. And I think this is only the third largest, but the first park in the province of Ontario, dating back to 1893, just a scant 26 years after the birth of the country. The Highway 60 corridor is a 56-kilometer stretch from gate to gate and cuts through the south end of the park, for which you'll find the majority of the car camping grounds, 18 interpretive hiking trails, and parking for the backcountry trailheads. Lodges and motels, backcountry outfitters, and stores can also be found in the corridor. Must-see attractions for nature lovers are of course the Visitor Center, the Logging Museum, and the Outdoor Theater, a real special treat when they hold the Wolf's Howl, which takes place on Thursday nights during the month of August. One of my first memories as a boy. Once into the park boundary, you begin to see the unmistakable moose warning signs on the roadside, and they're appropriately massive for a reason. Drivers must also be at attention not only for the massive moose, but vacationers getting their social media selfies alongside these most Canadian of animals. During the spring especially, it's not uncommon to see moose from the roadside. They come close to the roadway because of the winter road maintenance salt that's been washed off over the spring. For whatever reason, moose like salt. At kilometer marker 0, we happen upon the West Gate and Information Center, a popular spot for photo opportunities with the iconic giant birch bark sign. Farther in at kilometer marker 14, you'll come across the Canoe Lake store, historically known as the Portage Store. This is one of the most popular embarking locations for backcountry canoeists, with a large parking lot and overflow parking across on the other side of the highway. It's also the location for free public showers. If you ever spent 5 or 6 days backpacking in Algonquin, you come out here on the way out to shower, and it'll likely be the best shower you ever had in your life. The Portage Store is also an outfitters, with canoe and kayak rentals as well as complete backpacking packages available. The Algonquin backcountry is accessible, spectacular, and wild. The deeper you get away from the corridor, the more peaceful and beautiful it becomes. By water and portage, there are over 2,000 kilometers of canoe routes to explore, and nearly 2,000 remote campsites available to spend your time. If backpacking is more your thing, the park offers 3 beautiful main trails ranging in length from 6 to 88 kilometer loops in length. You'll never experience a quieter night. Canoe Lake is also known for the lake that claimed the life of renowned Canadian artist and Group of 7 muse Thompson over 100 years ago. Many of his works are inspired from and of Algonquin, a park that he loved and spent many years inhabiting. Some mystery still revolves around the death of the artist to this day. Known to be an excellent canoeist, his body was recovered from the lake 8 days after a so-called drowning accident. Some believe he was a victim of foul play, being romantically involved with a one Winifred Trainer, who also had the eye of a Mr. Shannon Fraser, the owner of Mowat Lodge. I guess we'll never truly know. After another bathroom break for me and the missus, and it's just a short hop down the road to our destination at Mew Lake. Algonquin Park and a select handful of other provincial parks have now become paperless. Once you book your reservation online, up to 5 months in advance, you can pre-register with your vehicle license plate at the same time. Then once you arrive at the park, you simply drive in and set up on your site. No check-in required. For me, I make a stop at the gatehouse to buy some waterlogged campfire wood. A usually drier, albeit faster burning option is the kindling bundles they sell, but let's just keep that between you and me. With Lexi lashed to the picnic table, it's time to start setting up. That is, until the first of many tripod tip-overs to occur this weekend. For this early season trip, I brought my heavy flannel Woods Heritage canvas bag for the weekend. It's rated down to minus 15 degrees below freezing, and we're expected single-digit temps overnight. Super comfy, I wish I could just live in it. Unfortunately, with rain forecasted for much of the weekend, I wasted no time in deploying the Slim Shady awning. It's small and lightweight, but it does the job. Already almost 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and finally my first opportunity to sit down and relax. I used the time to back up some of the day's footage to an external drive and munch on some jalapeno Cheetos. These things are the devil, let me tell you. And I think Lexi would agree as well. So far today, we've been good with the weather. It's mild but overcast, and the bugs are practically non-existent, something I wasn't expecting so early in the year, but I'll take it. However, with that said, it didn't take long before the skies finally opened up. Just a steady light drizzle for now. Of course, being the gentleman that I am, I gave up my seat to Lexi, who didn't seem too thrilled with the dirty, wet, and muddy ground. I think I'll add a cot/dog bed to the list of things I need to buy. After the light drizzle, the rains let up enough that we decided to head out on the section of trail that borders the back side of the park, right next to our site, and joins the popular old rail bike path further down. The woods have an entirely different feel about them in these dim gray and wet conditions, but no less beautiful and no less inspiring. Even the occasional buzz of the insects around the microphone isn't enough to ruin a peaceful moment in nature like this. Well, not while we're watching this on TV, from the comfort of my couch that is. With the drizzle once again starting to fall, we cut our hike short and head back to our site. I fashioned a makeshift dog bed with one of the lids off my plano boxes, and Lexi and I resign ourselves to the coming of another night of rain. And rain it did, not letting up at all through the whole night. We woke to find the puddles on the ground a little bigger and a little deeper. Despite the constant pattering of rain on the tent fly, we both remained warm and dry and comfortable. A lot of people have bad opinions about rooftop tents, but I'm sure glad I wasn't sleeping on this ground. The previous day I didn't bother with dinner, not really wanting to set up the cooking gear in the rain, but this morning, there's no way I'm skipping breakfast and a hot coffee. And Lexi clearly has that dog's intuition when food is about to be prepared. They just always seem to know. First order of business, coffee. I picked up a new pour-over coffee setup for camping. It has this nice little cork-sleeved flask. I also have a nice new set of cutlery in my camp setup. These are from Forged Blade, and they have a great feel in the hand and look like they're made to last. There's nothing quite like wood-fired oven bagels while camping. You've seen these on my channel before, and for sure you're going to keep on seeing them. As satisfying as a bagel and hot coffee is in the morning, there's just something missing from this camp breakfast. How could I not start the day without some nice smoked bacon on an iron skillet? You can practically smell it cooking right through the screen. I know my camp neighbors were paying attention. I'm a strong believer that smoked bacon falls into the category of comfort food, and with this gray and rainy morning, it's an especially welcome treat. As for Lexi, she believes anything that makes it to her mouth is comfort food. Camping with dogs, tip number 1. Always willing to help with the dishes after every meal. With breakfast settling and the rain seemingly easing up, it was time for another walk, this time down to the lake. The designated beach areas of provincial parks are always off limits to dogs. This person obviously missed a half dozen signs saying as such. With Lexi's over-the-top vocal reaction to this other dog, you can understand why most parks also have dog-free camp areas. Mew Lake is where I first visited Algonquin as a boy, and I can still recall the crescent shape of the beach to this day. Algonquin is one of those special, magical places where lifelong memories are made. Like the time when a horsefly bit a chunk out of my shoulder while I swam here some 45 years ago. I think I actually still have the divot scar there. I'm convinced if he didn't bite clean through, he probably would have carried me right out of the water. On the walk back, it was kind of nice to see that we weren't the only ones with optional swimming pools on our site. Speaking of Algonquin memories, a family in an oversized trailer arrived late last night. By the looks of the scrape on this tree, someone else is making some long-lasting Algonquin memories as well. I commented earlier on the rooftop tent. I really do prefer it over ground tenting, but one glaring downside, at least with the non-hardtop unit like mine, is you're kind of restrained from driving off to, say, a local trail for a hike or to the camp store if you forgot something back home. Regardless, while grabbing some more snacks and catching up on the park paper, the skies yet again decided to open up. And then open up some more. With nothing else left needed to be done this day, we sat around keeping sheltered under the awning and waited for the night to come. And then it was off to bed for yet another rainy night. Fingers crossed that we'd get some sun before the trip was over.